Hi guys, so I'm back with a contest entry for the contest of ToyKlectrr. He has an amazing TV show collection and Disney collection, so if you're a fan, definitely check it out because it's amazing. It's massive, and those are the two things that I really collect myself. He also collects regular Blu-ray, so if you're interested in that, he also does that. But I'm also a collector of Disney movies, but then only on Blu-ray, and of TV shows. So yeah, I was really glad to finally find his channel, and now he's doing a contest. Now the question was, what is your favorite, Disney DVD, Blu-ray, movie, animated series, or just live action movie? You can name anything as long as it's Disney related. Since I am a big fan of Disney, I am going to divide that question in different sections, and I'm going to tell you what my favorite Disney animated series was, what my favorite Pixar series, Pixar movie is, what my favorite Disney movie is, what my favorite Disney sequel is. So I'm going to divide that question, if you don't mind. The first section that I want to talk about is my favorite Pixar movie. As you can see, it is Toy Story 3. When I first saw the very first Toy Story movie, excuse me, very first Toy Story movie, I did not like it. I really didn't. I was really little. I was like, I think 7 years old. I'm not sure, and I didn't like it at all. But then, 2.5 years ago, I really started to collect and to get really back into animated movies, which is my passion. And I liked the first one a lot better. The second one I liked even better than the first one, and I fell in love with the third movie. It's amazing, it's heartbreaking, it's everything you would ever want from a movie, and so much more. So yeah, that's absolutely my favorite, but it's on a tie, kind of on a tie with Up. I really thought this was an amazing movie the very first time that I watched it, but the rewatchability, the value of this movie to rewatch it is not as big as it is of Toy Story 3. It's not as good. If you watch Up for the second time, it's not as good as the first time, which is a shame, but I still really love it. But yeah, so I would tend to put this one on the number 1 spot and this one on the number 2 spot, although in the very beginning this was definitely a tie. So yeah, that's my favorite Pixar movie. Up next, I'm going to tell you what my favorite Disney classic is, but I'm not just gonna name one. I'm gonna give you my top 4 because those are the 4 movies that I absolutely love. And the very first one is obviously The Lion King. I love this movie so much that I bought the 3D edition of this, even though I do not have a 3D television or a 3D Blu-ray player, and I don't plan to ever get that, but I just, I'm not into 3D, but I just wanted to have every edition of this movie. And I made this, my ultimate edition because, you have the Blu-ray, but the movie, it was a little bit restored on Blu-ray, and they cut a few scenes which I didn't really like because I love the scenes, where Simba, where Mufasa appears in a cloud, and Simba runs after it. That was cut in this version, and I wanted to have, like I said, every version of this movie because I absolutely love it. So I assembled my own edition, and I put there the 2-disc DVD edition of this movie in it. So then I also have all the extras of the DVD, which wasn't included in this set of the Blu-ray, and I have the full movie on DVD as it was supposed to be, you know. So that cost me quite a bit to assemble this edition, but I love it so much, so I had to have everything from this movie. That is definitely my absolute favorite. This is on the #1 spot. Next is Beauty and the Beast. This is actually the movie that, you know, where I started to collect Blu-rays. This was the one that, you know, made me start collecting Disney classics, animation movies. You know, this one really started the collection of every Blu-ray. So yeah, I love it. It's beautiful. It's an amazing story. It's definitely a #2. #3 spot goes to Pocahontas. It was one of my absolute favorites when I was in my childhood, and yeah, I still love it. It's really well done. It's mainly on the #3 spot because, you know, this was a movie that I watched a trillion times when I was a kid. But yeah, nothing can replace this movie because it has, you know, amazing childhood memories attached to it. And #4 spot goes to a movie that is released on Blu-ray in the US, but nowhere else. And I was really hoping for a Blu-ray release here in Europe. I'm still hoping for that. So yeah, and otherwise, if it really doesn't get released on Blu-ray, I'll have to import it because it's super good. And that's Treasure Planet. That's definitely something that won't be in the top 4 of many people, but I love Treasure Planet. It's science fiction. I love science fiction. I think they did an amazing job. But bear in mind that I never saw the live-action movie of Treasure Island. A lot of people who do not like Treasure Planet saw Treasure Island in their childhood. So yeah, I've never seen that movie and I fell in love with Treasure Planet. I really, really like it. So that's my top 4 of Disney classics. My favorite Disney animated series is, I do not own it. It has been partly released in the US on DVD, but nowhere else. And it has 2 seasons, and the second part of season 2 has not been released yet. I don't know when they're going to do that because the other other volumes have been released a long time ago, and the animated television series that I'm talking about is Gargoyles. It's an amazing television series. It's absolutely one of my absolute favorite animated